Hello everybody, this is Surf, and today I am going to be talking to you a little bit about unorthodox ways of conducting yourself on the server. This sort of goes beyond the nation. I'll be coming out with a video soon on how to be a good nation leader. However, this time we're going a little bit more of an unusual direction. And this video is going to be for your bandits, your mercenaries, or anyone that has the ambition of forming a reputation on anything that's outside of what your average nation will be. So, if you like what I'm doing here, if you like all the meta stuff, like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and let's dive right on in. Just before we get into the video here, I'd like to plug my new community Discord. I call it Surf City, and it's going to be a little place for me to communicate with anyone who likes my channel, likes what I do, and wants to communicate with each other. So I've made this little ditty. It's sort of still in the development stage, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it fares, and I think it's a good way to progress the channel and the community, just to have one place for everyone to sort of meet up in a singular location. So yeah, but let's get into the video. Like most everything I do, I divide it into 3 parts. 1, reputation. 2, managing fear and infamy. And lastly, 3, long-term leadership. Starting with number 1, you have to act. If you are trying for some bandit kind of contraption, you're going to want to be committing some nefarious acts. You're going to want to be raiding. You're going to want to have your guys. You're going to want a small group of guys. You probably won't want to be banditing by yourself if you really want to make a reputation off of it. Get a couple friends. I'll talk about this later, real soon, but not right now. And you're going to want to start getting your name out there. Start getting people talking about you. Burn homes where you can. If you find a little unpopulated place, unclaimed, looted already, it wouldn't hurt you to start a little fire if you can. I know ticks, the tick rate of the server can sometimes be a problem, but if you want to start a little fire or have like lava in it or something and take a quick screenshot and see like, oh, beware of the bandits, or insert your name here. Also, you're going to want to use that and make lots of announcements. Utilize the acts you are committing in order to get even more recognition on the main global server. Name recognition is really key here. But of course, you don't have to be a bandit. I assembled a little list here of anything while I was making the outline for this video. And you could be like a rogue navy, a nomad, if you want to classify your group as like a horde. Like a Mongol horde type of thing, always on the move, always sort of going, or like a militant cult if your whole thing is air islands and occupying those, theocracies if you're completely religious in the way you conduct your national policy, or like subterranean civilizations if you want to live under the ocean or really far deep underground. You wanted to make your whole city or cities underground. This video is for you. It's not just for the bandits, but it can also help everyone outside of any nation. The next thing you're going to want to do is gather members. You're going to want to start with a core group of members. It can be one other guy, it can be a few other guys. Just before you start your brand, just make sure you're not the only one in the Discord server you made. You know what I'm saying? This helps if you're like really new at the server and you've got a couple friends that you play with. That is pivotal. When you start out with a very small in-group, that makes all the difference. Having a posse right at the start will tell everyone that you've got support, you know how to lead, and it opens the door for a lot of power and a lot of posturing to be done. And that's really what it all comes down to. What people think of your unorthodox association, group, organization, whatever, is really going to determine the influx of recruits and enemies that you amass along the way. Once you've got all that, you're going to want to act big. You're going to want to posture. You're going to want to start making practical moves. You're going to want to start making your first practical moves on whatever map you choose, be it Rathnir, Eldham, even if you're not playing on Stoneworks, any other server. This works for all world building, political kind of apparatuses you may have going on. You're going to want to think big. This is the part where you're going to want to start thinking about your short-term and your long-term goals. This is something I am going to go into detail on much later in the video, but now is when you've got to make your first move. Now moving on to section 2, managing fame and infamy. One thing that a lot of war-mongering nations will do is they don't know when to give it a rest. They'll just keep annexing, they think they're on a roll, they think they were on top of the world, and then all of a sudden a coalition comes, knocks them straight out of the park, and really either annexes or subdivides their nation into very bite-sized pieces, completely destroying your endeavor. You're going to need to know when to give it a rest and when to sort of appear weak. Not weak enough for your enemies to move in, but still weak enough for them to think that your momentum has stopped, if that makes any sense. Infamy, like I said, can absolutely ruin you. So it's better to play safe than sorry a lot of the time. You're also going to need a center of operations to sort of manage everything. This is specifically useful for like decentralized kind of things. I assume if you're listening to this, you're going to be like the leader of the operation, or one day want to be the leader of the operation. So it helps to have a central space both online and within the server. They're both online, but like you're going to want a Discord server, you're going to want a Discord headquarters, and you're going to want a real place on the server for you to gather. And the more power you get, the more you're going to want to protect that power and project that power. And a lot of ways this is going to come through your buildings. You're going to want your capital, it doesn't have to be a capital, but your central base of operations on the server to look relatively prestigious. You're going to want them thinking that you have it all put together, even if you don't. And once you've got that, you're going to want regional headquarters. You're going to want smaller bases either on the same continent or in strategic places throughout the server, and try to keep them as each one as populated as possible. You know, I think it looks really good for any organization you've got going on. If you've got bases throughout the map and they've all got like guards posted here and there, I think that looks very good for you. And if worse comes to worse, you're going to want to tell the world that you're no longer a threat without having them think that you're ripe for annexation. And this is sort of the last resort. This is if you cannot avoid, or you think you can't avoid, a war. You can do a couple things, such as changing the form of government. Like Barbarossa did this once, where they stopped being pirates for a little while and they were like a mercantile republic and all that. Or you can take a page out of Bardonia's book and fake civil wars. Pretend like there's this massive amount of instability within your nation and there's multiple players at work, even though it's all not real. This is actually a super good idea because it will invite the enemies of your nation to go looking for the other guy you've set up as a fake offense, a fake challenger, and you'll really be able to see who is willing to put forth action to end your career. But in all actuality, it's just something you've invented, and now you can see a lot of your enemy's cards. Lastly, you can fake a disbandment. You can falsely put out an announcement saying that your place is gone, your organization is kaput, when in reality you take like a week off and now you're back and doing your thing. You have to be sometimes very deceptive if you think you can't avoid a war, and you really have to do what it takes to save your nation, even if it has a little bit of a consequence. Thirdly, the category of long-term leadership. So you're going to want to keep players invested as often as possible. And you're going to want to do this through player events. If you're a more nefarious type of organization, you're going to want to do raids. You can also do building projects. And this goes for all ones, not just nefarious ones. You can also do interactive passive events. This is something I learned as a little game master playing Gary's mod, Star Wars, is a lot of passive events go a long way. Just keep everyone engaged at all times. Say at this day, at this date, we're going to move base here. We're going to help make a base and I want everyone to come and help. Or we're going to we're going to caravan a lot of supplies from point A to point B. And I want you to come out and help. Things like that make people really enjoy being part of the faction, if you want to call it that. Secondly is making a cult of personality. Make people really not exactly afraid of you, but that power you've made your nation project, now you're going to want to be projecting that from yourself as well. Making sure everyone knows who you are and that you're in charge. This goes for publicly and privately. And when someone messes up, they should be punished. And they should be punished by you. You know? Lastly, you're going to want to put your name on things. You're going to want to put your name on whatever possible. Make sure you name like the settlement after yourself. Make sure you name like the whole, like a building or something after yourself. Make sure your name is on the wikis and on the stuff around the town, because there's going to become a time where your place might get abandoned or the whole group might disband. But as long as no one comes to dismantle the whole place, your name will stick around and people will remember you even after your group is over, for example. And you'll become just a pivotal part of your local history, or if you were big enough, the entire world's history. The consequences of what you could do are quite literally unimaginable. The last thing you're going to need is a very active lieutenant. So you're going to want to delegate most things to them. Leave the most important stuff for you, but when it comes to everything else, you're going to want the best lieutenants possible. You're going to want the best sort of seconds in command that you can possibly get. These guys are going to be the ones that are executing all of the player events, the raids, whatever. And you need to make sure they are quite literally the best. Cycle them if you need to. Fire them. You know, switch them out when someone else better comes. Make them prove your worth to you. You're the boss. You're the boss, man. And if they're not pulling their weight, cut them or demote them or whatever it takes. And you're going to want to keep on mission. You're going to have your short-term goals and your long-term goals. Whatever those are, you're going to want to keep on mission, primarily with your long-term goals. You're never going to want to lose sight of the vision, of the dream, no matter what you're doing. And if you keep going with that sort of drive in mind, and mixed with a little bit of nuance, mixed with a little bit of knowing when to settle down for a little bit, and then starting back up once the tension has lowered a bit, you're going to get there. You're going to make it. So, I hope you enjoyed this video here. Next episode, I'm going to teach you how to be a good nation leader. I just did the unorthodox ones today, and now, very soon, there will be another one on how to be a very good conventional leader. I think a lot more people will enjoy that one just as much as they enjoyed this one. So stay tuned. More videos are coming, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and join my Discord. There is much more to come. We are gaining subscribers at a incredibly nice rate, and I am so just incredibly thankful for all of that. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.